have understanding. It is essential knowledge for every business leader, entrepreneur, and professional to consider how the economy
Hello, Ridwan.
affects the business. I'm with you.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you. Please, are you sharing any slides? Are you sharing your screen?
I will be sharing my screen in a minute.
All right, please. Thank you.
So, over the next few minutes, we will explore how different economic systems influence business operations, how countries like ours fit into this framework, and what it means for your own work and decision making. So permit me to share my screen. All right. Please kindly confirm you can all see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you very much. On today's session, we will
Put it on
focus our...
presentation mode.
Okay. A minute, please. I'm finding it difficult to do that.
You can go ahead. Okay. Your screen is visible enough.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Understanding economic system and business. I would like us to focus our energy on three key topics, which is business, economics, and market structure. What we'll be learning today, we'll be learning business fundamentals, economic systems, economic health, and market forces. So I begin with business. Every day you interact with countless businesses from different industries across the world. A business is an organization that strives for profit by providing goods and services desired by its customers. Goods are tangible items manufactured by businesses. Services are intangible offerings that can't be held, touched, or stored, like healthcare, legal advice, accounting service, and the likes. Business serve both consumers and other organizations, creating the goods and services that form the basis of our standard of living. They provide jobs, generate economic activity, meet society's needs. So in our economy or in our society at large, there are some business that are established to strive for profit, and we also have not-for-profit organizations. Okay, not-for-profit organization exists to achieve goals other than profit. These include charitable goals like Habitat for Humanity, the World Wildlife Fund, reaching out to the less privileged, reaching out to children, girls' child, and the likes. And these organizations are not designed to make profit. So we have both coexisting in our economy. I deem it fit to put it out there that we can have businesses that strive for profit, that are established for the main purpose of making profit, while the not-for-profit organization have their goals that are other from profit making. Under the business part of the lesson today, I want us to also look at these two terminologies: standard of living versus quality of life. So, standard of living is measured by the outputs and services people can buy with their money, while quality of life is the general level of human happiness based on life expectancy, educational standards, health, sanitation, and the likes. So what this slide is really saying is that for standard of living is actually measured by the amount of good or service a particular person or a group of people can buy with their money, while the quality of life is the general level of happiness human beings derive from life expectancy, their educational standard, how healthy they are, the sanitation in their environment, and the leisure time. Building high quality of life requires combination of effort of business from government and from not-for-profit organizations. So while an individual can achieve their desired standard of living, to be able to achieve a very good quality of life, it has to be a collective effort from the businesses in the economy, from the government, and for not-for-profit making organizations. So I hope we are clear with that. All right. I also want us to quickly check these terminologies. These terminologies actually operate around business. We talk about risk, we talk about revenue, and we talk about profits. Revenues are money received by providing services or selling goods to customers. Profits are money left over after paying all costs of profit. That is, basically, in accounting terms, you say your profit is your cost, your revenue less cost. So the difference between your revenue and the cost for actually selling, generating that revenue is what we regard as profit. Creating quality of life and business success involve managing risk. The potential to lose time and money or fail to accomplish organizational goals. Understanding the relationship between risk and reward is fundamental to business. Before I move further, I want to quickly highlight that business owners, entrepreneurs in general, they are the one that actually bearing the risk of making a business successful, because they are investing their money and their time to ensure organizational growth of that business and ensure that the purpose for establishing that business is actually fulfilled. Still on business, I want us to also look at natural resources, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Natural resources are commodities useful in their natural state. Mainly, these natural resources form the material that are processed by businesses in order to provide goods or services for the society. Labor is the economic contribution of people working with minds and muscles. So labor is actually supplied by human beings or machines. So mostly by human being working with their mind in order to achieve a business objective. Capital, this is the amount of resources that is being employed by a business owner in order to carry on the production of its goods and services to deliver them to consumers. While entrepreneurship are the people who combine their inputs to produce goods and services, making decisions and also taking risks for profit or not-for-profit goals. Having mentioned the four factors of production, I want us to also consider knowledge as the fifth factor, because this combines talent, skills of the workforce that has become a primary driver of growth in the economy. What this slide is actually telling us is that we can not only consider these four factors of production as the only input for a business to engage in production and also deliver its goods to desired customers. We should also be considering the fifth factor of what is called knowledge, because this is actually the main brain behind the business, because it is the knowledge that is being analyzed and breaking down into processes to be able to combine the talent, the workforce, and also the resources together in order to achieve the desired production level and also meet the consumer's requirements. Quickly, let us also look at capital and entrepreneurship. Just like I explained earlier, capital are a series of resources, tools and machineries, equipment that are used to produce goods and services. Entrepreneurs combine natural resources, labor, and capital to produce goods or services with the intention of making profit or accomplishing a not-for-profit goal. In this session, we are going to be looking at how businesses create value, how factors of production are actually deployed into production process to be able to give the desired results, and the risk and the reward for risk, and then adaptability. Value creation, businesses and not-for-profit organizations are geared towards creating value, whether it is for profit or social impact. While the factors of production are all the material inputs, intellectual inputs, financial inputs, the entrepreneurial skill of the business owner, all combined together and deployed towards production process to be able to achieve the business objective. Then the last one, which is the adaptability, is the ability of the business to manage change. And this change happens due to internal and external factors. And external factors are factors, or they are series of occurrences around the business, in the business environment, while the internal one actually emanates from the business. Businesses operate in a dynamic environment that directly influence how they function and whether they achieve their objective. This external business environment consists of numerous outside organizations and forces that creates unique challenges and opportunities. In understanding the business environment, business owners and managers have significant control over internal problems, choosing suppliers, hiring employees, selecting products, and determining sales location. Understanding the business environment requires the business owners to manage and have significant control over their internal operations. Also, having or properly managing how to choose their suppliers, how to hire their employees, how to select the products from the numerous industries in the economy, how to select the product that best suits their objective, their business goals. So understanding the business environment allows the business owners to be able to make these decisions. Moving forward, there are 7 key environmental sectors, and these are the key for you to be able to analyze your business environment and how this business environment affects your business. We have economic factor, we have political and legal, we have demographic, social, competitive, global, and technological keys. And the economic is the business cycle, the inflation, the interest rates, and the supply and demand forces that is going on in the economy. These impact your business, whether positively or negatively. The government regulations framework also impact your business. Demographic age, the age, gender, and race also has its impact on businesses. The social, the attitude of people, the values and their ethics, their lifestyle also has a way it impacts your business. Then the market structure, how competitive the market is, also impacts your business. So far, we've been able to identify what a business is and the type of business we have in our society, that is the ones that are profit-oriented, and the not-for-profit businesses or organizations. We've also looked into the factors that could impact the environmental or economic factors that could impact your businesses positively or negatively. And so far, so good. I just want to know if we are all following. Any questions so far? You can just drop a message in the chat room if there is any question. Okay. Okay, no questions so far. All right, so permit me to move forward to business environment, economic systems, and government policy, how these factors actually affect the business. Just like I explained earlier, the social, political, and legal factors affect businesses, affect all business organizations. The economic system also, how economy provides jobs and competes to create and deliver products. Then the government policies look into how government influence economic activities through their policies, whether monetary or fiscal policy. And I also want us to look at the business cycle. The economic activity doesn't grow in a straight line. It constantly changes through predictable patterns called business cycles. The business cycle vary in length, intensity, and impact on different sectors of the economy. Number one, we are looking at expansion. When a business is in expansion stage, the business has a rising output, a rising income, the employment rates gets increased by the day, and the prices as business activity increases. When a business is in expansion stage, you tend to push out more of your product to the market. As a result, there is an increase in revenue, your income base increases, the number of employees you need in order to increase your level of output also has to increase. At the same time, the prices of your products are highly competitive. Then the next stage is peak period. A business reaches its peak when it is performing at its optimal or optimum level. So economic activity reaches its highest point before beginning to decline. So a business is considered to have reached its peak when it is performing at the optimum level of performance before it starts declining. The third one is recession. A decline in GDP lasting 2 consecutive quarters, that is 6 months, can lead to recession in an economy or in any business environment. Then we have the recovery. The recovery stage happens when after there is recession. So it's in stages. The first one is expansion stage, where a business is performing at its optimum level. The second stage, the expansion stage is when the business is actually pushing out its product into the market. That is, they are having increasing number of output, they are having increasing number in their revenue base, they are having increasing number of employees, and also their prices are highly competitive in the market. Then a business is considered to be at its peak when it has reached its optimum level of performance. Then a business is considered to be in recession when there is a decline in its performance over 2 consecutive quarters. And lastly, a business starts recovery after a recession had already taken place. Understanding economy and business, you would agree with me that we need to also look at the generation of people, of the workforce, because part of the factors of production with which a business is going to deploy in order to reach its best performing stage is labor. And a wise entrepreneur should consider the generation of its labor force, its workforce. So we have 5 generations of people at work currently. We have the traditionalists, those that are 70s plus years old now. We have the baby boomers generation, the 50 to 60 years old people, members of the workforce. We have the Gen X, which are the 40 to 50 years members of the workforce. We have the millennials, 30 to 40 years, and we have the Gen Z. Understanding how these people, how they operate, will allow the business to have an informed decision about its workforce and how they can impact the level of output. Okay, you would agree with me that the productivity or efficiency of the traditionalist, the age group under the traditionalist, can't be compared to that of the millennials. Also cannot be that of millennials can also not be compared to the Gen Z. This takes us to how retention strategies to be deployed on how to keep the workforce and how to motivate them as well in order to maintain their efficiency and productivity level. So we might look into flexible hours of work, how to retain experienced workers with remote options, and also tracking their careers, monitoring their retirement timelines, and succession planning. So a business who is wary of its environment, who is aware of how the business environment might impact its business, will be looking towards planning around its retention strategies, how to deploy flexible hours to ensure that the best performing workers that he has are actually working at hours that they are mostly efficient, and also retaining the experienced workers. Mind you, putting mind in monitoring their retirement timelines so that they start planning for their successors. So, having said all of this about business, before we move to economics, I want us to confirm if we all understand what a business is, also the form of business that we have, the factors of production, and also how a business environment could impact the business. So can anybody tell me the two types of business that coexist in our economy? You can drop a message in the chat box to confirm we've been truly following. Okay, nothing yet. We have about 15 participants already. We have Adedamola here. We have Edith. We have Mercy, Daniel, Elizabeth. Please kindly confirm. Yeah.
Well, so we should tell you the type of business that exists in the economy.
That coexist in the economy, yes.
Type of businesses.
Yes, I explained them earlier.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, Ismail is saying selling food. Okay, I think I just summarized the whole business and just have it in two divisions. We have the profit-oriented businesses and we have the not-for-profit oriented businesses. Okay, so those are the two divisions of business that I actually gave earlier. The profit-oriented business are striving towards making profits and performing at their optimal level of performance, while the not-for-profit organizations, they are actually established to achieve a common goal that is humanitarian goals, reaching out to the less privileged, and the like. So they are not profit oriented. So those are the two major divisions of businesses, like I earlier explained. Can anybody also mention maybe two factors of production so that I also confirm that we are following? Are we there?
What?
Factors of production. Hello?
Yes, please check the chat room.
Okay. All right, capital and labor. Messi is saying capital and labor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. So also, what factors of the economy impact our business? What factor of the economy impacts our business? So we have the economic factor, we have political factor, we have the social factor, and demographic, also the market structure as well as technological factor. These factors impact the business, whether positively or negatively. So having confirmed that we have this understanding, I want us to go to economics. Okay. So I'll start by saying that while the business in one country thrive while other struggles under similar conditions, the answer lies in something we rarely stop to examine, which is the economic system. Yeah. Today we'll trying to uncover forces that drive production, distribution, and consumption in every society, and how these forces determine whether business succeeds, fails, or evolves. Okay? And we have different economists that has defined economics for us. We have the likes of H.J. Davenport, we have Alfred Marshall, we have Adam Smith. Alfred Marshall defined economics as the study of mankind in its ordinary business of life. Adam Smith defined economics as a relationship between ends and scarce means, which has alternative uses. Okay, I would say that we want to go with Adam Smith's definition that the relationship between human and its motive to actually balance its ends and scarce means. That is, ends means their wants and their humans' desire to have something. Human desire to have something, whether it is a want or a need, we have to look into that and how the available resources is actually used to satisfy those desires. And you would agree with me that most of the time the available resources are scarce. So which makes the resources inadequate to quench the desires of human beings. At the same time, when looking at these two factors, we are also looking at what are the alternatives that these resources can actually be deployed to actually give better results That is how I can efficiently manage my resources to give me the best performing results. Okay, so I'm going to the economic influence on business. The economic influence on business represents one of the most important external factors affecting businesses. Fluctuations in economic activity create business cycles that impact businesses and individuals in multiple ways. The influence of an economy on business can either influence the economic growth, the government policy can also influence the business, and also the market forces can also influence the business. Okay, I want us to look at how the government policy influence the business. Okay, the political climate is very critical factor for day-to-day business operation. Multinational companies like General Electric evaluate three key components before locating facilities: government stability and political risk, regulations for foreign businesses and ownership, import tariff, quotas, and export restrictions. I want to quickly circle on these 3 points for a few minutes. How can our business be impacted by government policies, that is, the government stability and political risk? You would agree with me that one of the key factors to consider when locating or siting a business is the political atmosphere of that business environment. Okay? For a business like Dangote Refinery, for instance, in Nigeria, okay, initially, prior to this day, there were no policies that actually encouraged indigenous companies to venture into production of oil produce in Nigeria. And this might have discouraged so many business men or entrepreneurs who want to delve into businesses like oil production. Okay, but in recent time, we realized that the government has been, lenient enough to accommodate into their policy some policies that are able to, accommodate businesses like Dangote Refinery in Nigeria. A very typical example is how the electricity generating companies were working in Nigeria prior to this day. You would agree with me that we used to have what we call NEPA, and this organization is actually a public venture that is run by the government, and we know the performance of NEPA when they were still in charge of distributing electricity across Nigeria. The story has changed today because the government has actually created a policy or accommodating to the law privatization of electricity distribution industry in Nigeria. So in Lagos, for example, we have the Ikeja Electricity Company, we have the Eco Electricity Distribution Company. So prior to now, we only have one body servicing and distributing electricity across the whole nation. But in recent time, due to the government policy, we've been able to have the business privatized. Hence, it has improved the quality of the distribution of electricity across Nigeria. So it's been a positive response feedback from consumers of electricity in Nigeria, although it is not a fully accomplished uh, 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 goal, but there is an improvement from what it used to be and what we are experiencing now. You can see how the accommodation of government, okay, have actually impacted the accommodation of government into their policy to privatize the electricity distribution company, give rise to, you know, businesses like Eco Electricity Distribution, Ikeja Electricity Distribution, Ibadan Electricity Distribution. So for businesses or for entrepreneurs that has better ideas or want to go into the market of distributing electricity, with the new policy now, they can confidently walk into that industry and operate in the most efficient manner due to government policy. Okay. Also, the regulations of foreign businesses and ownership. Okay, for country like Nigeria, as a case study, we are big on imports. Okay, and most of all the countries we are importing from, they have their foreign policy. They have policies that guide how you import from their countries. These regulations actually also impact the business. If there is any slight change as to their foreign policy, it could affect the business of a business that has previously been thriving. It could affect the business in such a manner that it starts facing a recession. Okay, and also policies like import tariff, export quotas, export restrictions also influence the business environment. Okay, I haven't explained that. I also want us to look at the power of demographic. Okay, the study of people, the study of people's vital statistics, including age, gender, and race, uh, ethnicity, and location, also impacts the business. And how does this impact our business? For a business that wants to venture into the sale of uh, um, female wears, okay, has to put in consideration the environment I want to site my business. What is the female demography of this environment? Because that is going to impact the business profitability. A business cannot cite a business that wants to focus on um, female wearables cannot cite its business where in an environment that is mostly populated by the male gender. Okay, so the study of um, statistics of gender, race, ethnicity, and location is very, very important in citing your business. So the kind of audience, the kind of consumer that you are targeting, also the power of demography will also allow you to be able to um, ascertain your consumer age group, your targeted consumer, the products you are actually building or you want to take to the market. Which consumer am I targeting? Which is the most populated consumer in my business environment? Then that will help you decide on what to produce. There are some, there are three basic economic problems that producers or entrepreneurs face or faces. First is what to produce, the problem of what to produce. Secondly is the problem of how to produce. And the third is the problem of for him to be produced, for him to produce rather. Okay, so let me take what to produce, for instance. A business that sites or that is domiciled in Nigeria, or an investor who wants to come to Nigeria to come and invest, okay, will actually be faced with the problem of what to produce. The business environment is what is going to influence its decision, okay, and also the people of that business environment, which is the ethnicity now, the race. This race actually goes deeper than just the skin color or it goes deeper to the culture of the people, their behavior, then their sensitivity to change. Okay, these things will help a manufacturer or a producer have a well-informed decision about its business environment in order to decide what to produce. A business that is domiciled in Lagos and have access to clean water would want to venture into the production of water, bottled water or sachet water, because of the large consumption of water on a daily basis in Lagos. Okay, because mostly people work 9 to 5, people work from morning till night under the scorching sun, which makes them to demand for water more. So a business that has actually studied that, okay, these people actually work mostly in the afternoon, because there are some countries that they predominantly work at night. They have night shift. Manufacturing companies, because of the government policy or their environmental policy, they cannot emit combustibles or what's it called, any manufacturing refuse into the environment during the day. They have to schedule their production time to be at night. So for businesses that want to go into water production might actually not thrive in an economy whereby people are not working under the scorching sun, rather than to start its business where people are actually, working under the scorching sun, and because of that, their demand for water tends to increase. That's just an example. Then the second problem of how to produce also has an influence of the people, the gender, the race, the ethnicity, because a country like Nigeria that is highly populated, okay, a manufacturing business will want to deploy the what's it called? We want to invest in labor force, in labor for its production highly, rather than deploying technology, because of easy accessibility to labor force. So what the labor will do, okay, and how easily they can get people to work for them in an highly populated economy will impact the business positively, because they have easy access to labor force. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that a business a business that wants to uh, delve into manufacturing, okay, industry, will want to consider we want to deploy more labor because of easy accessibility to labor force in Nigeria, rather than investing his money on buying technology to make the production process faster. And you would agree with me that the cost of buying technology, machines for production processes, and the cost of installation, cost of maintenance, all of these costs are put together for, for production processes. If it is, compared to what the labor is going to earn, and how easily they can get people to actually join their labor force for production to go on, they would want to decide on making the labor intensive method rather than capital intensive method of production. Capital intensive means that they want to deploy their capital on getting machineries that will replace human workforce. But if they are able to get um, what's it called, adequate workforce to uh, continue their production process, this will, you know, reduce their cost of production. Okay, so this information about their environment has actually made the business owner to make an informed decision to either choose between labor intensive method of production or capital intensive method of production. Okay, I think please, if you have any question, kindly note it in the chat box so that I can address it while I'm having the session. Okay, so moving on to the social factors that shapes consumer behavior. Okay, their attitude, their values, their ethics and lifestyle shapes how they think and how they are sensitive to change in their environment. So a business owner has to have all of this information handy about its environment so that it gives it a well-informed metrics on what to do, how to um, tailor his production process, the consumer's attitude towards its product, any little change in the product, what is the consumer's reaction? So all of these things has to be considered by every organization in order to be able to thrive well in an economy. How does technology impact our business? The application of science and engineering skills to solve production and organizational problems can stimulate problem, can also stimulate growth under any economic system. New equipment and software that improve productivity and reduce costs rank among a company's most valuable assets. So if there are machines that can actually make your business perform more efficient, okay, it is highly recommendable that the business invest in deploying those machines to their production process in order to increase their efficiency and also to be able to meet the market's demand. Okay. Productivity. What are the key metrics in measuring productivity? Productivity is measures the amount of goods and services one worker can produce. Our ability as a nation to maintain and build wealth depend largely on how quickly and effectively we use technology. Just like I explained earlier that it is wise of every business that identify a machinery or a technology that can actually improve the efficiency of the business and invest in deploying that machinery towards its production process in order to be able to perform at its optimal level. Okay. Now, how does business and economic work and how do they coexist? Understanding economic system is fundamental to business success. A nation's economic system combines policies, laws, and choices that determine what goods and services are produced and how they are allocated. Every economy faces the same challenge, using scarce resources to produce and distribute goods and services efficiently. Okay? I would want to develop more on this particular point, that this is actually talking about how the government um, views what to produce, that is, which project to embark on in every society. Okay, um, every economy is actually facing this particular challenge of scarce resources. That is why we have budgeting. That is why we have national budget, because what we have as national resources in terms of revenue, in terms of accessibility to facility from international organizations, we need to plan it in such a way that we are able to utilize it efficiently in order to provide and distribute goods and services for the entire public. And these particular goods and services that we are distributing must be able to meet the most challenging needs of the people. The government has to put in consideration what are the economic needs of its citizen. This same idea also can be deployed in a business organization. A business has to evaluate its environment and understand what the business environment wants. Okay, this will form how they make decision on what to produce, what service to be rendered for the for the economy. Okay, for instance, transporting food from the food basket of the nation um, to urban areas like Lagos, Abuja, Calabar, Ibadan. Government has to, you know, look into how food items can be easily transported to all of these areas in a seamless manner in order to tackle the issue of hunger in the economy, in the country. These uh, these are the key things for a business owner or the government to actually look into in order for them to be able to have a well-informed decision on what to give the economy, what service to be provided and to a society. People in Lagos, they have the challenge that they are facing, which might be similar or different to people in Abuja, which might be, also be different from what the people of Kaduna, Katsina are actually facing. So they need to look into what problem is actually present in our economy and how we can deploy and distribute the economic resources in order to meet the pressing need of the people. To the government, that is how they measure their performance, because if you keep deploying resources, the state resources, and it is not meeting the pressing need of the people, then your government or your tenure would be considered as underperforming. Likewise, the business owners too. If your business is actually not solving a a pressing need of the people, then you might as well not be relevant, because people have to they will now be choosing between you and their need. Okay, so I want every business owner that are in this meeting with me to always have at the back of their mind that, how do I position my business? They should always think about this every time. How do I position my business to actually solve a specific need, a pressing need of the economy? Because this is how you can create demand in market for your product. And once there are demand of your product, then you keep producing. you keep utilizing all your resources at optimal level, and you'll be getting optimum results from these performances. Okay? Are we together? Please, I want somebody to unmute and confirm to me that we are actually following. Hello, are we there? Hello? Hello?
Yes, we are following.
All right.
Yes, I'm following.
All right. Thank you. All right. Before I bring the economic aspect to closure, I want us to look at the competitive strategies that businesses can deploy into building a very lasting relationship and also in their supply chain. So the business has to build relationship management, building long-term partnership with customers and suppliers. One of the strategies you can actually deploy, because this has its advantage. And the advantage of getting this right is that you have a number of customers, of consumers waiting for your produce. At every production output that you have, you already have ready-made people waiting for your product to hit the market so that they can consume. If you are able to build long-term partnership with your customers, then you won't have any challenge selling your product or services. Okay? And one of the ways to build this is to build integrity around your business. Let your business perform. Sorry, my network. I'm back now. Thank you. So your business must be able to perform what it has promised its customer. It must be able to meet its performance obligation. That's just in a nutshell. Then the supply chain excellence. You have to build a strong bond with your suppliers, because some of the there might be times that the business is experiencing ups and downs, and once you have a very strong bond with your supplier, then you have a good credit score upon which they can give you credit facilities. You can enjoy a good letter of credit such that they give you materials to produce and for you to be able to meet up with the market demand and also generate more revenue for your business. So these are ways to keep, these are strategies you can deploy in order to, keep a long-term relationship between your customer and your supplier. Okay. All right. So I want us to look at the various, earlier when I was explaining the impact of business environments on businesses, I explained that the factors that brings about all these influences can either be political, can be social, it can be, um, it can also be technological. Okay, so part of the political influence that can influence your business is what is taking us through the forms of politics in our business environment and the definition of some particular terms we have an environment, we have a business environment that is purely a capitalist environment. We have some that are communist. We have some that are socialist. Okay, so I want us to look at what capitalism means. Capitalism means the private ownership of enterprises or resources of production in an economy. Okay, so in pure capitalism, all factors of production are privately owned and the government doesn't set prices or coordinate economic activities. Okay, so under capitalism, the right to own property is central to the capitalist. The right to make profit is also centers around the capitalist as well. You have the freedom of choice to become an entrepreneur, to also compete in the market, because in a capitalist business environment, the entrepreneurs are the king. Okay, they are the owners of factors of production. So basically, in a capitalist economic system, yeah, all factors of productions are controlled by the entrepreneurs, who are also called the capitalists. Okay, so they have the right to make decisions, set prices, and also compete amongst each other. We also have communism. Under communism, the government owns virtually all resources and controls all market prices, all markets. Okay, there is a centralized planning by the government. They decide what, where, and how much to produce, and also decide or controls pricing. The citizens have little or no choice in careers, work locations, or purchasing power. Then I want us to also look at the socialism. Under socialism, the basic industries are owned by government or private sector under strong government control. A socialist state controls critical, large-scale industries like transportation, communication, and utilities, while smaller businesses may be privately owned. So what this is actually saying is that the main industries of an economy that actually decide the growth of an economy is controlled by the government, while the industries that actually contribute lesser outputs in economic performance are owned privately. And also we can also have a mixed economy. Okay, a mixed economy is a mixture of both capitalism, communism, and socialism. Okay, so I think Nigeria is an example of a country that operates mixed economy. Okay, let's compare all of these economic systems. We have the capitalism, the communism, socialism, and mixed economy. Under capitalism, the government has minimal interference. Okay, so the resources to production is privately owned by business owners. Under communism, government owns all or most of the enterprises. Under socialism, government owns the basic industries. And mixed economy, we have both private ownership with some government control. Okay. Market control under capitalism. There is a complete freedom of trade because everybody is a businessman, and the production resources lies in the hands of businessmen. Under communism, government has the complete control. Under socialism, some markets are controlled by government, while some are free for trade by the private sector. Then mixed economy, we have mixed control with significant planning. Workers' incentive. Under capitalism, strong incentive to innovate, owners retain profit. Okay, so under an economic system where the resources is owned by the business owners, so the the business organization or the business owner can deploy so much incentive in order to encourage its workforce to improve their innovations, also to increase their performance level, and the owner of the business also retain the profit made by the business. Then for communism, no incentive for quality or hard work. Under socialism, private sector like capitalism, public sector limited, the workers, some of them are rewarded by the private sector and some are rewarded by the, the public sector. In a mixed is also the same, some by the private and some by the public. So I hope with this we are able to understand the type of economic system that we have, and how this economic system can actually impact our organization. Okay. All right. Moving on, I would like to move on to business decisions through economic lenses. Okay. But before that, let us look at how the economy functions, and the flow, the circular flow of input and output of resources among household, businesses, and governments. Understanding these interconnected exchanges reveals how economic sector interact and influence each other. Okay. On household, provide inputs, natural resources, labor and capital, and also entrepreneurship and knowledge as well. For household, we have in the society, let's just say the household is the human capital development. Yeah. So human supply labor, human supply natural resources, human supply capital, human also supply entrepreneurship, skill, and knowledge. These are now being transferred to business. For entrepreneurship skills and knowledge, they convert it supplies all other factors of production, just like the natural resources, labor, and capital, okay, and brings all these factors together to convert them into goods and services for consumers. These goods and services that are being produced by the business is now being sold to household, okay, and monies that household generates from either rents or the salaries and wages or the interest or profit that is being made from business are used to purchase the products that are produced by the businesses, which in turn generates revenue for the business. So that is how these inputs coexist, has a circular relationship in order to form a very good flow in the economy. The government's role in the circular flow. Government at federal, state, and local levels plays a crucial role in the economic circular flow. They supply publicly provided goods and services, highways, schools, police, courts, health services, etc. The benefit for both consumers and that benefits both consumers and businesses, such as government spending. Purchases from businesses contribute to business revenues, such as construction, firms, repairing highways. Okay, if governments deploy resources into construction of roads, for instance, all the businesses around that road that is newly constructed will enjoy seamless transportation of their product from the manufacturing point down to the consumer market. Also, tax collection. The amount of tax the government imposes on goods or on individuals also impacts how resources flows around these four circular economic flows. If there is high rate of tax rates, okay, if the tax rates are high, then the purchasing power of an individual or the amount of money at the disposal of an individual to either purchase product or invest in businesses is going to be reduced, which is going to actually reduce the investment capacity or the purchasing power, and this will impact the performance of the business in the economy. Really, this leading to the reduction in the gross domestic product when the government is actually analyzing its national income projection and the likes. So if the tax rate is high, it will impact the household, it will impact the entrepreneurship mindset of business owners, because there will be reduction in the amount of money at the disposal of the people, either to consume, to buy products in the market, or to invest in businesses. Then the economic impact, the changes in the flow of the charts, okay, just like I explained, arising from the increment in tax rates will reduce the consumer spending, while cutting taxes stimulates the activity. That is, if there is a reduction in tax rates, it increases the disposable income of a worker, of people in the economy, thereby increasing their purchasing power or their investment capacity. From this part of the session, I want us to have these key takeaways. Okay, one is economic system matter. A nation's economic system, such as capitalism, communism, socialism, or mix, fundamentally shapes how business operates and make decisions. Two, competition drives innovation. In a capitalist economy, there are so many businessmen, there are so many entrepreneurs, there are so many capitalists in the market that have free rights to compete fairly in the market. Okay, this leads to better products, stable prices, and increased efficiency. Okay, benefiting both businesses and consumers. I would want to, circle on this point for a minute. Okay, in a capitalist environment where the there is a free market entry for businesses, okay? There are so many alternatives to choose from because there are so many entrepreneurs in the market. And because there are so many entrepreneurs in the market, they have so many products in the market that can compete with each other. They can compete with each other quality-wise, price-wise. So this stimulates the market, okay? Unlike an economy that is actually having a monopolistic market, whereby there is rigid entry of entrepreneurs into that market. There is going to be one or two products in the market, and this product might actually be reduced in quality because the consumer will still be forced to buy this product because there is no alternatives to choose from. Okay, example is our electricity distribution. Okay, we have our what's it called now? The two major suppliers of electricity in Lagos, Eco Electricity Distribution and Ikeja. Both of them are actually enjoying some sort of monopoly because there are only the two players in the market. The market is rigid for entry of investors, okay? Because if there are series of players in that market, series of producers, distributors in that market, there is going to be quality service, quality distribution of renewable energy that are clean, okay, in the market and at competitive prices, okay? So these, in a capitalist economy, it is easy for consumers to be king because there are so many producers who wants the consumer to actually purchase their product, okay? So that is for competition and innovation. Then mixed economy dominates. Most modern economies blend element of, uh, all of the systems, that is multiple systems, balancing the market efficiency with social welfare. That is, they allow the government to control some part of the economy while the other part of the economy are being controlled by private sectors. Okay, so that's why I said in Nigeria is an example of a mixed economy because you realize that there are some certain areas of the economy that is being controlled by the government, while some of them are controlled by individuals. Then interconnected economic flows. Household, business, and government form a circular flow where changes in one sector ripple through the entire economy. Dual economic perspective. Successful businesses analyze both macroeconomics and microeconomics factors when making strategic decisions. What are macroeconomic factors? These are the bigger picture, the bigger concern of an economy, such as the national personal income, the unemployment rate, the interest rate, fuel cost, national vehicle sales. The microeconomic factors are consumer demand and supply, competing models, labor and material costs, current prices, sales incentives. So you see that when talking about macroeconomic factors, we are looking at the bigger picture of factors of the economy that can greatly influence the economy. That is, any inconsistency in the practice of what is being practicable in any of these factors will greatly impact the economy. That is what is being looked at under the macroeconomics. And under the microeconomics, we look at all those minor things that that drives the economy, such as the demand and supply, the competing model, and the likes. Okay, so understanding the bigger picture, how do we measure a nation's economic health? Every day, new outlets report unemployment rates, inflation figures, and economic growth. These aren't just numbers, they are vital signs that reveal how well an economy is performing and directly impact businesses, household, and government policies. Okay, there are mainly three pillars of economic health. We have economic growth, we have employment rates, and we have price stability. Okay, for an economy to be performing at its optimal level, there must be these three key elements. Economic growth, that is increasing production of goods and services over time. This is typically measured by GDP growth, that is the gross domestic product growth of an economy. Most of the time, you will normally hear government or the IMF talking about the GDP, people saying Nigeria is a consumer-oriented country, and we really produce large chunk of what we consume in the economy is imported, and these are the factors that are contributing to the state of the country and how the country is struggling to meet economic growth. Okay, so the increase in the production of goods and services that are originally from Nigeria, that are originally from that particular economy, gives stability to the economic growth. If the GDP of Nigeria increases today, there is a good indicator that the economy is growing. Another key factor to look at is the employment rate. Availability of jobs for whoever wants to work is one of the key indicators that there is a good economic health in the nation. Okay, so mostly the unemployment rate is increasing day by day in the country, and this is not a very good indicator for a developing country. So we must have production facilities, we must have businesses or investors, whether foreign or local investors, who wants to come and invest in the country to increase the gross domestic product. By establishing all of these new businesses, it will ensure that people are having employment, and having employment, that is, there is no age bracket, that there is no workforce age bracket in Nigeria that is out of job. That alone secures what is going into all the households of an economy, and this helps us to measure the economic growth. Okay, then we have price stability. The rise of inflation in Nigeria has actually made the prices of goods and services to be unstable, and price instability is a bad indicator for economy that is developing. A fast developing economy must find its way towards balancing and maintaining a price stability. In conclusion, a nation's economic well-being depends on carefully defining these goals and choosing the best economic policy for achieving them. These three objectives work together. Success in one area often influences the others. All right. Okay, I will explain the base. Now, let's quickly look at, I explained the business cycle earlier, talking about the expansion, the peak, the recession, and the recovery. Okay? In the chat room, please, when is a business considered to be in recession? Or when is an economy considered to be in recession? Anyone from the chat box? Hello, is there anyone here? Hello, are we here?
What's your question again?
I said, at what point does an economy regard to be in recession?
At what point does an economy start to, okay, I mean, I think as you rightly said here, I thought it was here you say that if it is for 2 consecutive quarters, so that means in a 1 year, in half a year period, you can start to say that an economy is in recession. I thought it will use like a 12-month period, like post. But that means right now you can tell if it's 6 months. I didn't know that. I honestly did not know that it's 6 months. Interesting.
Because for every businesses or an economy, we should always keep track of how our economy is performing or how the business is performing. A timely intervention can actually save the economy or the business. If the evaluation of how the economy is performing, of how the business is performing is done once or twice in a year, we might miss that slight chance to save the business or the economy from recession. So that is why I agree to the fact that it is safe for a business to look into its quarterly performance, or an economy to look into their quarterly performance and how their performance is being compared to what they have budgeted. Okay, so this will give them a strong information on the performance of the economy or the business. Okay, so like I said, when a business is expanding, it starts experiencing increase in the number of outputs. The revenue keeps increasing, starts adding more employee to the organization in order to be able to meet its required outputs, to be able to perform at its optimal level, and also will enjoy a better pricing system. And I said the next cycle after the expansion cycle is the peak cycle. The economic activities reaches its highest point. That is, at that point, whether it's a business, whether it's an economy, we are looking at an economy at large, it has reached its highest point. That is, there is no indication that there is going to be an increase of performance at that level. The only thing expected at that level is it to either stay at that level or it start declining. Okay, so when we identify that a business has actually stayed for a period of 2 quarters at a particular level, that is when you measure it, the current situation or the current performance as to what it was last quarter or last 2 quarters, there is no significant change. That means that is the optimal level of performance of that business or that economy. So the management of the business or the stakeholders of the economy should ensure that they stay at that level. Otherwise, they start experiencing a decline as regard the performance of the business or the economy. And a business is in recession when you start experiencing a decline in the performance of the business or the performance of the economy at large. And the last one is the recovery stage. The recovery stage talks about after you have experienced the recession, how the economy or the business recovered from the recession period to be able to meet its performance expectation. So these are the 4 business cycle. And look at these 2 scenarios over here. When the business is actually, or the economy is actually experiencing growth, you see numbers of employees being increased. There is the machineries, the factors of production, the resources deployed in order to ensure its peak performance. They are increasing in numbers. They are maintaining. They are reaching their set goals. They are meeting their tasks, their targets, their objectives. Okay, and everywhere seems to be running. But by the time the business is in recession or the economy is in recession, the factors of production are not put to use. They are idle because the business is no longer performing to meet its expectation. Okay, so businesses, the business management, the economic stakeholders should always evaluate their economic performance, their business performance, to ensure that their business is in the first phase and reaches its peak. And when it reaches its peak, they ensure that they maintain that level of productivity, that level of efficiency for a very long time to improve the business entity continuity, to improve the going concern of the business. Okay, because when the business starts experiencing the recession, then a lot of or series of occasions start occurring. The production target or budget is not met. The customers' expectations are not met. The workers' expectations are not met. So all of these factors contribute to downfall of a business, which can, at the optimal level of recession, is to crumble that economy or the business, unless there is a quick recovery of the business back to performing to meet its expectation from recession. So the worst scenario that a business can actually experience or an economy can actually experience is for the discontinuity of that business or the total breakdown of the economy. Okay, so far so good. Is there any question as regard business cycle before I move on to the last part of the session, which is the market structure? And I think we are going to be having the market structure after our break. I think the break is 12 to 1. Please, moderator, kindly confirm when the
Yes, so
break
I
is.
think there's a break in the next 10 minutes. Well, no, it's a 30 minutes break. So that we'll just come back and then we'll spend like 30 to 45 minutes and we can bring the day to a close. Who is here? From Transformation College, who is here? Nesty, are you here?
Hey,
Damilola, are
boss.
you here?
Yes. I was knocked out by the network.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I can see a question from Edith now, saying when a country's GDP fall for 2 consecutive quarters in real terms, then we can regard the country to be in. Okay. I think that is actually addressing my question earlier. I was just trying to ensure that we are all following the session. Thank you very much, Edith, for following. Any other contribution or question before we go for our break?
I think maybe Ridwan, when we come back, right, we should look at these things relative to our country, Nigeria. So I know there are a couple of organizations that write economic reports every year. So if you look at, I'm sure if I check for Nigeria economic outlook, I'll find something. You will see budgets from PwC, and you see different organizations. So they said Nigeria economic outlook is cautiously optimistic, and GDP growth, blah blah blah. One question I would like you to answer is, I listen to Arise News a lot. In fact, even where I'm seated, Arise News is in the background. But my challenge is that every time they'll tell the guy that is the head of tax for the country, they'll tell the FRS man, they will Cardoso CBN will come. The what's the other man? Finance minister will come. All of them will keep throwing the numbers at us. But my point is the average person in Nigeria that is seated in their homes, if you come to ask me about, or come to ask the security guard in my house, he doesn't feel these things. It's almost like what we're saying is foreign to him. So my simple question is, how do we manage this? How do we interpret the economic indices from the perspective of the common man, the everyday man? You don't have to answer it now. Well, if you can, at least you can give a thought, and then we can go for our break. Go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you very much, sir. The question is that how does a common man feel the impact of this economic situation? Am I?
Yes, I
Is that
mean,
right?
so once again, the people will tell us that it is getting better. But you and I know that, I don't know, maybe it is getting better, Sha. So yeah, share your thoughts.
So, so one key thing is that Nigeria is blessed with people that are highly educated, economists, people that are up there, that are looking at our financial metrics, that are looking at our national growth. So, one of the, from Dr. Okonjo Iweala. So in a recent interview, she said Nigeria is performing and struggling to come back, that is, recover itself back from recession under the administration of PBAT. Okay, and to my own opinion is that they are tackling this issue from top to down, not from down to top. Okay,
Right.
had it been it is from down to top, then the common man would have actually felt the impact of their policies. Okay, you would agree with me that personal experience, though, in terms of this tax reform and new tax regulation and the likes, how it's going to impact the economy. There are some, if the implementation actually goes smooth the way it's projected to go, Nigeria is going to be one of the fastest leading economy in Nigeria, because what the government is actually getting in terms of revenue from taxes, okay, is significantly not at the most efficient level, considering the cost of collection from the FIRS. And this is what I mean. Yeah. If there is a centralized system, just like we have a central account that Buhari introduced in his administration, which improves transparency in all governmental agencies. Okay, if there is a central platform where people are access to tax, and the tax system is not ambiguous. The tax law is actually out there for everybody to read and interpret. There are safe nets for businesses, SME business, medium scale businesses. There are safe tax nets for them. There are provisions of the law that actually exempt them from paying some certain taxes. But in Nigeria, there are some foreign businesses that are in Nigeria that ought to be paying some certain amount of taxes, which makes our previous, or let me say our extant tax laws to not really addressing a progressive tax system. You realize that businesses that are performing better, that people that are operating in the big industries, they are paying lesser taxes when compared to medium and small scale businesses. Okay, that's why I said this reform is actually targeted to scale from top to the bottom, not from bottom to top. As well, the revenue generated now, it's Nigeria will, we are now in the know that they want to generate more money, and then we have to hold them accountable as to how the common man will feel the impact of the revenue generated from the new tax reform. So that is my opinion regarding the impact of. Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think this session has gone pretty well. We will all come back in exactly 30 minutes, and then you probably will spend another 30, 45 minutes. And then yeah, can finish it in 30 minutes, and then we'll call it a day. Thank you very much, Ridwan. And
All right.
the slides are they really look nice. They just the look of the slides in itself is brilliant. So whoever worked on this in Transformation College, big well done to that person. Good. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you in a bit.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mercy. We are welcome back to the second part of the session. Briefly, we are looking at understanding economics and business, and we tried to explain what a business is, the two divisions of kind of business that we have, one that is geared towards making profits, and the other one that is not-for-profit oriented. And we have looked at economic impact on business, how various economic factors can impact our business. At the same time, we have talked about the economic cycle and the cycle of a business, rather, the 4 stages. And I want to believe that we can all relate to business as to how to evaluate it, and also know at what stage is the business currently performing. We've looked at the economic growth and the performance indicator of economic growth. What are the things to check for in any economy that is a developing economy or that has the attribute of growth? Okay. So currently now we want to look at the market structure because the relationship between business and economy is actually the market where the players actually operate, because this is the meeting point of the business and also the economy. Okay. Let me share my screen once again so that we can all see. Okay. So I'm sorry, a moment, please. One minute, please. All right. So, competing in a free market. Understanding the market structure and competitive dynamics in modern economics. The real world examples, we have wheat markets, corn market, and stock market. Okay. The four types of market structure, we have what we call perfect competition. We have another one we call pure monopoly. We have monopolistic competition, and we have oligopoly. Okay. To further explain what perfect competition market is, the key characteristics is that we have large number of small firms. The products are very similar. Good market information for buyers and sellers. Easy to enter or exit the market. Okay. So the characteristics of perfect competitive market is that they have large numbers of small firms. It encourages small businesses. It encourages entrepreneurs to enter the market and showcase their products. And the products that are traded in this market are very similar. The information about the market is known to the buyers and sellers. That is, before you even approach the market, you can have already made information as to the prices of goods in the market, and also free entry and exit of the market. The pricing reality is that the firm have no control over prices. It is purely determined by the supply and demand of products in the market. So we move on to pure monopoly. Pure monopoly has dominance and there is barriers to entry. One firm accounts for all industry sales of all particular goods or service. An example is the then NNPC. NNPC is the sole distributor of oil produce in Nigeria. But now we have the sole manufacturer here. So we have the likes of Dangote now, and which has actually broken the monopoly chain. Okay. Barriers to entry. There is technological, legal, and resource-based factor that prevents competition. Okay. So initially, when I was explaining the legal impact of economy on business, is one of the key points is that the government policy predominantly affects some players in some industries. That is, if there is a monopoly power given or vested in a particular company, in a particular venture in an economy, that policy has made it possible for that organization or that business to run a pure monopoly unless there is a change to that policy, which was what happened in the case of Dangote. Okay, and we have high price control because he's the only player in the market. He has the power to control the prices, which was why you see the price of fuel fluctuating. He can even be strategic enough to make the product or services scarce, such that there's going to be high demand and increase the price of the product. Okay, so let's go to monopolistic competition. We have three defining characteristics. We have numerous competitors in the market. We have close substitutes, and we have easy entry. Okay, so there are so many buyers and sellers in this market, and we have similar products that consumers can actually choose in substitute for your product or for the specific product. So easy entry, relatively simple to enter the market. And finally, we have oligopoly. Oligopoly has small number of companies produce most or all outputs. High barriers, there are large capital requirements, limit the numbers of firms or numbers of players in oligopoly. Interdependence, firms watch each other closely, okay, for new technologies, product innovations, promotional campaigns, and so on and so forth. A good example of this is our banking industry, okay? You can only have few firms because if you can ask any Nigerian now, they will tell you they have, if you ask anybody if they have a dream or if they were to be granted the wish of owning a bank, would they love to own a bank someday? Everybody will tell you they want to operate a bank, okay? Whereas we only have few of them operating in the economy. So, which gives rise to the few numbers of entries of players in this type of market, okay? And for this market, you see that most of the time, all of these market players has similar features. They have similar product lines. If one comes with a technology today, within few weeks or months, the other player is going to also introduce the same technology so that they are at par with their contemporaries. Okay, so in oligopoly, okay, an example is aircraft manufacturing, such as Boeing and Airbus industry. They dominate the global market. The smartphone operating system, we have Apple and Google controlling the market because all Androids are working on Google operating system and all iPhones or iPads are working on what's it called? Apple operating system. So just to buttress the point. To further compare all the markets and their characteristics, we have perfect competition, we have pure monopoly, monopolistic competition. Please kindly confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your phone.
Okay, thank you. So the number of firms under perfect competition market is many. Under pure monopoly, we only have just one. Under monopolistic competition, we have many, and oligopoly, we have few. Price control, under perfect competition, we have none. because the prices of goods and services is determined by the forces of the supply and demand. And under pure monopoly, the price control is high because we only have one supplier of the product or services. So that player can decide to control, to increase the price, and people will still have to buy. That is the case we had when we were still under NNPC. Just imagine that Dangote refinery is not here. I know that currently now we would have been buying fuel for about 1,200 naira, 1,300 naira, because at some point it was a bit over 1,000 naira, and that was this year. And look at how much it's going for now. So it's because of the introduction of the new player into the market. Okay, so for monopolistic competition, the price control, we have some that could, and under oligopoly too, we have some. An example, the example I gave under oligopoly, you know, let's take banking, for example. I think that one we can all relate to it, yeah, because let's even take all these let's take banking, for instance, because let's assume somebody or an organization wants to take facility from a bank, and you approach 3 to 4 different banks. You would realize that if you have a good negotiating skill, you can have series of interest rates from these banks. While some are giving you 16%, some might be giving you at 18, 20, some at 15. Depends on your negotiating power. Okay, so that's why the price control here, it's not really fixed, or not that there is no price control at all, but some of them can still fix the price. Then barriers to entry under perfect competition, no barriers. Under pure monopoly is subject to government regulation, and monopolistic is few, and oligopoly, many people can operate in the market, but not as many as that, because we only have few players in the market. Product differentiation, under perfect competition, very little difference is we have in the market for products that are being traded in that market. Then for pure monopoly, no competing product at all. Then for monopolistic competition, there are emphasis on perceived differences. Okay, because under this monopolistic competition is where you find the likes of let's take, for instance, Ovaltine, Milo, and Bonvita. Okay, so you realize that when you get to the market, there is slight difference in their prices. Okay, so consumers have the right to choose among close substitutes. The same thing to toothpaste, the same thing to mostly all the FMCG product that we can find around. Then at the same time, we have oligopoly. We have some differences, just like I explained using the interest rate example. So you might have little difference in their product differentiation. Yeah. Okay. Now the key takeaway from this session is that this part of the session is that we need to, for a business to thrive well in an economy, you should be able to identify which markets you are bound to operate. Okay, if you are going to the market, which market am I operating under? Your ability to quickly decide which market you are heading to will give you an information on how to quickly make an informed decision so that you know who your competitors are, you know how to position your brand, how to make yourself relatively competitive. Okay. Number one, market structure matters. Okay. Number of supplier defines the competitive dynamics and pricing power. For somebody who is operating under the perfect the perfect competitive market, this perfect competition, okay, has to understand that there are free entry and exit of business owners in that market. They can't determine the price. The price has to be determined by the forces of demand and supply, okay? And someone who wants to, have a monopolistic right will know that, okay, if I'm going into this market, I have the freedom to dictate the price, okay? So that's one. Then competition varies. From perfect competition to pure monopoly, each structure has a unique characteristic. So your competitors are different according to which markets you are operating under. If you are in a monopoly, you are enjoying some sort of monopoly, then there is no competitor for you. If you are under perfect competition market, you have so many competition. If you are under oligopoly, you have few competitors. Okay. Markets are dynamic. Industry structures evolve through technology, regulation, and consolidation. So in every market, it has its own dynamism. Okay. So, and you have to evolve through technology and regulation, and you have to be up to date to be well informed as to what government regulation is actually impacting your business. Let's take, for instance, the new tax reform that we mentioned earlier before we went for break. We business owners need to start looking inward, critically looking into the provision of the act to see how it impacts their organization, so that they still stay afloat, and then uh, they are still relatively competitive in the market. Okay, then antitrust matters. Legal challenges prevent anti-competitive behavior, especially in oligopolies. Okay, I still want to use banking industry for oligopoly example, as an example for oligopoly. Yeah. So because they are regulated with series of government agency, and the apex regulatory body for banking industry is the CBN, and that parastatal comes with regulation from time to time, and this ensure fair competition among the players in the oligopoly market. Okay, so it is very, very important that we really understand the market which our brand or our business or our idea that we are trying to develop on will actually be operating under, so that we also factor in whatever decision we are able to, whatever information we are able to gather from the markets we are going into our decision making. So before I go to conclusion about the market, is there any question or any observation before heading for conclusion? Hello, are we there? Okay, just to test that we are there, which market enjoys full monopoly? I'm currently in the chat box. Okay, waiting for our answers to come in. Are we there? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, so I just want to confirm that we are all here. So I'm asking the question that which of these four markets enjoys full autonomy in the market?
So I think you should check in the chats. People are typing in the chats. Petrol refinery.
Okay, I'm trying to check the chat. Okay, petrol refining industry, okay, is an example of a player in this particular market. I'm actually asking for the market type that allows the player to enjoy full autonomy as to price determination. That's my question. Thank you, Monopoly. Humphrey, if I get it correctly. Okay, okay. So what kind of entries of player is there under perfect competition market? That's the second question. What kind of entry is there under perfect competition market? Easy of entry, easy of entry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, that's fine. I think I want to quickly wrap up with my subscription now, and this takes me to my next slide, which I designed. Permit me that my slide is not as bulky as that of the Transformation College. Okay, so all right, so I want us to quickly look at the overview of what we have learned so far. So we have learned the economic system. We have identified the main types of economic system. We have understand how much or how each system affect the business operation. Then we have also see how the economy impact business decision. Okay. So also we have looked at the market economy, how some of the market is driven by supply and demand, how some of the market is privately owned and the resources are privately owned too. That is talking about.
So that when I want to go to church, I will just give them to help me iron it.
Yeah.
In the church.
Okay, is that an observation?
Sir, I think you should proceed.
Okay, thank you. All right. So then we are looking at mixed economy where government and private sectors combine economic resources. And then we looked at role of business in economy to provide goods and services, create employment opportunities, and contribute to GDP growth. Encourage innovation and technology, pay tax that fund public infrastructure. Okay. We look at how economic system affect businesses, high competition, innovation, and profit-driven. The command that drives or that guides economic system, which is the government control, and also the balance between the public and private sectors. Okay. So the key summary here is that economic systems shape how societies manage resources. Each system has its pros and cons for business. Okay. Mixed economy dominates the modern world. Successful business adapts to economic realities. I think we can all agree that successful business adapt to economic realities, because the major reason why you need information about your business environment, about your economic environment, is to have information that could impact your business, whether positively or negatively, so that you can quickly factor that in and see how your business can scale through that factor. Okay, so every successful business adapts to economic realities. Understanding the economy to make better decisions. So anyone who has, or any business that has a perfect understanding of how the economy operates or the markets in which they operate, they have better information, and with that better information, they are able to make better decisions. Thank you very much. And I want to close my session this way by having a question and answer session so that we can wrap it up. If there is any question, please kindly unmute and then ask the question right away. I'm checking I'm checking the chat room as well to see if there is any question. And I'm also waiting for the participants to also ask questions.
So does anyone have any question for our trainer this afternoon? Please feel free to ask.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, thank you, sir. My name is Humphrey. Thank you for
Okay.
the excellent delivery. My question goes like this: how can organizations, I mean, in this case, businesses, position themselves to be resilient in economies like ours in Nigeria?
Okay. All right. So to answer the question, I think everything about business has to be intentional. There are some level of intentionality to business. For every businesses that strive to be successful and to ensure they are operating at the highest performance level, okay, they need to identify which market they are operating. Okay, that's the first step. You identify which market you are operating, and then from there, you'll be able to know who your competitors are. Okay?
Okay.
With that,
Yep.
you'll be able to ascertain what are the conditions to be in this market to operate at an optimum level in this market. Okay? Then what are the regulations of government in this market? That's one.
Okay.
That's under identification of markets. Number two,
Yeah.
location that you want to site your business. Okay. I was explaining the other time why a manufacturing firm would want to come to Nigeria to invest due to our demography, due to our population size. Okay.
Our numbers, yeah.
Exactly. So that kind of organization or production firm would want to deploy what we call a labor-intensive method of production than that of capital-intensive method, because of the costs that are attributable to maintaining the technology that you are deploying into your production process. Okay, and once you have your labors, what you owe them is wages, and some labor laws that you need to abide with. You understand? So aside from that, you check the cost implication of deploying labors and the cost implication of deploying large machineries towards your production process. So you need to look into where you are siting the business, okay? How business site is going to improve the efficiency of the production resources, that is your capital, your labor, your entrepreneurial skills. You understand? All the factors that you combine together to make your product, okay? You need to position your business or site your business in an environment that is viable and that will make your business perform at an optimal level. Then the last part, yes, on the last part is to always reckon with regulations, okay? Always reckon with regulations, because most of the time, a business environment has some certain regulation that actually guides it. Like the example I gave, that people that are operating in banking industry, they have apex body, which is CBN, that release regulations from time to time. So you have to stay up to date on regulations that may positively or negatively impact your business. So majorly, even if the business is in ideation stage, when you are designing your SWOT analysis, okay, you should look into the business environment, where you are going to site the business, the markets you are going into, the regulation that guides the market, that guides the operation of the industry you are into. All of this will help you make a well-informed decision and ensure that you operate at an optimal
decision.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
Any more question? Hi, Ridwan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm actually waiting for questions.
I feel there is no more question, because if there is, they will definitely ask you.
Okay, so maybe we have to bring the session to a close then.
All right, thank you so much. Please, a round of applause to our trainer. A very big round of applause to him. Thank you so much, Ridwan, for the excellent delivery of today's class. We really appreciate you. And I believe for every one of us, we have gained value for our time. The time you invested in today's class wasn't a waste. Thank you once again for joining us up till now. Thank you so much, Ridwan. And then thank you for everyone for your participation and engagement. Okay, so we do not really have announcements. We don't have new announcements. This is just to bring to your reminders that this class holds every Saturday from the hours of 10 a.m. To the hours of 2. So this is to your clarification. Please do not always join class late. We should always keep to time. And if you are yet to fill up the attendance link or attendance form, it's already there in the chat room. All right. And then please, we implore you people to fill up the feedback form. This will enable us to improve in our delivery. Please fill it up a moment so I can drop the feedback form. Once you are done filling it up, please, we implore that you write done. Once you fill it up, please write done. All right, so please fill it up and then type done once you are done doing that. The training slides is going to be sent to you immediately after this class, and then the recording is going to be sent to you in the coming week. Every other information is going to be sent to the group. All right, please follow us on all of our social media handles on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then mention Transformation College. We need so much of your engagement. Thank you so much, everyone. Like I said, if there is any other announcement, it's going to be sent to your group. Please, we still await your feedback on the feedback link so we can just call it a day. Please, we await your responses, please. Thank you so much, Kayode. Thank you. Thank you to the trainer. A very big thank you to everyone. I really appreciate you all for standing by up to this moment. And from here, I would say a very beautiful November to every one of you and a very wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you in the next class.